Shortly after Queen Elizabeth's advisor John Dee was at the turn of the 17th century, shortly after.
Now, Europe and America, what I said in the other video. So the whole other side of the Eastern world is Europeans. No matter what region they in the Eastern world, they're Europeans. And this shit separate Europe from America. Remember that, let's get it.
After Queen Elizabeth's advisor John Dee was corresponding with Gerardus Mercator regarding the polar magnetic mountain, Queen Elizabeth's personal physician and knighted president of the College of Physicians, Sir William Gilbert, wrote his opus, De Magnet, in which he argued against the prevailing belief of a polar magnet.
He got him with his hand on the globe. He ain't got a hand on the Bible, he got his hand on the globe. God, globe, and gravity, bro. I'm trying to show you. These the same people, bro. Mercator is the one that made the Mercator map. Let me show you. Let's get it.
Mountain, claiming instead the Earth itself to be a great magnet. Coming in the wake of the Copernican revolution, Gilbert's new model in stark
Copernicus is the one who started the globe concept. Y'all gotta catch all this whooping now.
Contrast to the long-held, now deemed unscientific notion that compass needles were attracted to a lodestone revolution, Gilbert's new model.
Look at this map right quick. The Arctic Ocean. We're looking at Greenland right there. United States right there. Greenland right there. Wait, so I don't see nothing on there. They make Greenland 9 times bigger than they're supposed to be. Let's get it.
In stark contrast to the long-held, now deemed unscientific notion that compass needles were attracted to a lodestone mountain at the pole, proposed that the Copernican ball Earth actually generated magnetism from a hypothetical molten metal core, which caused a constantly moving dipolar magnetic field over the globe. To this day, Gilbert...
Which one makes sense? The center, the rock, the magnetism of the Earth that's lined up with the star Polaris, or this ball they trying to get them to magnetize. Let's get it.
Hypothesis remains pure speculation, since no one in history has ever come close to penetrating or perceiving the supposed 3,950 miles to the ball Earth's core. In reality, the deepest drilling operation in history, the Russian...
Remember I told you? The Russians, the Soviets, the farthest anybody's ever dug into the Earth's surface is only 9 miles, 8 miles, 7 point some miles. So how can they tell you about something that's 3,000 feet inside of the water? The water just sticking to the surface. Man, get out of here.
Kola Ultra Deep, after decades of work and dozens of broken drills, managed to penetrate only 8 miles down. So the entire ball Earth model, taught in schools, showing detailed descriptions of a crust, outer mantle, outer core, and inner core layers, are all purely speculative, as we have never even broken through beyond the crust. Furthermore, there is nowhere in nature that molten metal retains any significant magnetic properties once heated past the Curie point, let alone create some convoluted, constantly moving dipolar field, as Gilbert claimed then, and proponents of the globe still maintain today. Several decades after Gilbert's De Magnet made its impression on the world,
here comes your gravity. Illuminati, protecting Illuminati, line with Illuminati, line with Illuminati. Everything that they gave you was a lie.
Another knighted president of the Royal Society, Sir Isaac Newton, would write the influential Principia Mathematica, where he proposed the concept of gravity to account, among other things, for how people could exist without falling off the underside of Copernicus's ball Earth. Coincidentally, or perhaps conspiratorially, a couple centuries later, it would be yet another royally knighted man, Sir Ernest Shackleton of the Royal Navy, who would allegedly complete that upside-down journey under the globe, becoming the first person to reach the so-called southern magnetic pole. Back when the Earth was perceived as a level plane, there was only one pole, the North Pole, directly below.
only one pole. The North Pole, there was only one pole. So now they gotta make an excuse to put you back up in the sky because you couldn't have built those pyramids. They had these aliens. Now they gotta send you back up here like they doing some shit. These people playing, they loving their imagination and you are being a figment of their imagination. One pole, man. Ain't no Antarctic. It's just the Arctic. Ain't no southern hemisphere.
Polaris, which was both geographically and magnetically. Back when the Earth was perceived as a level plane, there was only one pole, the North Pole, directly below Polaris, which was both geographically and magnetically the center point of Earth. Due to the hypothetical globe's hypothetical dipolar magnetic core, however, there suddenly became new frontiers to discover. Not only did Earth have a geographic North Pole in the Arctic, but now its geographic antipode, the South Pole in the Antarctic. Since Gilbert's magnetic poles were caused by perpetually shifting molten metal, there now also came into existence constantly moving northern and southern magnetic poles as well.
You remember we looked up the North Pole, the magnetic pole that was rushing towards Europe or some shit like that? Magnetic poles moving everywhere now.
And lastly, Earth's magnetic field was claimed asymmetrical, so that the constantly moving north and south magnetic poles were not even antipodal, meaning a straight line drawn from one to the other failed to pass through the geometric center of their globe. To account for this, two more theoretical poles, known as the geomagnetic north and geomagnetic south poles,
To clean up the bullshit that the motherfucking poles don't even connect, the axes don't even work. They create other poles, nigga. Understand what you're being told. Let's get it.
were also added into the convoluted mix. With this, two more theoretical poles, known as the geomagnetic north and geomagnetic south poles, were also added into the convoluted mix. With this, after centuries of failed expeditions to the pole, the first decade of the 20th century would suddenly claim the discoveries of the northern magnetic pole, the southern magnetic pole, and shortly thereafter, both the geographic and geomagnetic north and south poles as well. This turn of the century rush to the poles was not without its problems, however, and many explorers' supposed polar achievements during this era are now regarded, even by mainstream historians, as being riddled with fraud and false.
Fraud. The great polar fraud. We gonna dissect this whole video. The truth don't need no help. I said, let's get it. Pim.